What's up, folks? You believe that? Hold on. Do you believe that?
Bup Nation, what is going on? Hope you guys, of course, as always, are having a wonderful, wonderful weekend, wonderful Saturday evening. Really excited. K-Vizzy in the house. Appreciate you as always. Really excited to show you guys what I got prepared for you today. Should be a pretty fun film session. I've been checking this out, and I hope you guys find this incredibly helpful and informative, and putting a little, I guess, putting footage, putting real life plays to what Shedeur was saying yesterday on DNVR's interview with him regarding the offense this past year. If y'all haven't seen it, go check out the video. It is linked in the description of this video. But what's up, Sleepy Floyd? I love CC. Awesome. Yeah, y'all be sure to hit that like as you check in and let me know in the comments who's watching, what your thoughts are, as always. But man, I'm excited to dive into this. Been looking at a lot of film today, as I was like a couple weeks ago. So this, having Shedeur do this interview yesterday or Thursday, I'm trying to remember when it was done, I thought, man, this would be a great time to show what I was watching like a few weeks ago on just pulling my hair out saying, this doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. And Shedeur definitely helped it make sense yesterday. And if you haven't seen it, the Sparks Notes version of this was basically, with the offense last year, we were running so many different option routes that it was really hard for me to throw with anticipation, because me and the wide receivers, we weren't at that point where we could trust and rely on each other to read the defenses the same way. And so therefore, he had to hold on to the ball a little bit more than he would have wanted to. And that led to missing windows, okay, if he got the ball off, or it led to more pressure and or sacks. Okay, so I'm going to take you guys through some different plays here. One, showing you some different instances where I wonder if this is kind of where this option route miscommunication stuff that Shedeur was talking about kind of reared its head, where it showed up. Of course, I don't have the CU playbook. I don't know what the concepts were, exactly what the reads or progressions were, the route concepts, all of that. But going through this a few different times, these are some different plays that stuck out to me where I wonder if this really was the case. And then I'll also show you some instances of plays where I feel like you might see a little bit more of that Pat Shurmur might incorporate more of, because Shedeur said, like, hey, I throw better on schedule where I know what route concepts everybody's going to run from the get-go. That allows me to throw with anticipation and make reads at the line of scrimmage based off of the coverages that I'm seeing. And I think you guys will find this to be a really positive, hopefully really insightful show. And yeah, so before I get started, if you guys aren't familiar with option routes, like what is an option route? Okay. Here's my casual explanation of this thing. So with an option route, you're relying on the receiver to read the defense and run a route based off of what he's reading. So for instance, if this wide receiver, say it's who's returning this year, Travis Hunter or Jimmy Horn, right? Depending on how they see the defense set up, defending, they might run, a go route, a long route deep, or they might run like a little post, or they might run a curl route based off of the defense that they're facing. What makes this tricky is that if you don't have a lot of time in the pocket, you need to still throw with anticipation. And so you're hoping that whatever Shedeur is reading is also the same as what Jimmy Horn or Travis Hunter, they're reading as well. And it it creates a situation where if nobody's on the same page, that's when plays are run that, they're not firing off as cohesive or as smoothly as they could. And it allows the defense to come in there and make a really simple or really significant play. So anyways, I got footage from some of our worst games of the year from Oregon and from UCLA, where I feel like this really showed up in some really tough ways. I don't have a lot of like all 22 coaches footage, but those are two of the games that I have, and it'll kind of show you why, like, after that bye week, okay, after that Stanford game, the fact that Sean Lewis like came out running the same stuff like after 2 weeks, it was why everybody, including myself, like I was a Sean Lewis defender, right? After that game, it was just so ugly. Coach Prime did the right thing in moving off of him. And I think if you guys have any questions about that, if there are still some of y'all that don't understand it or think it was a dumb move or a controlling move, I think based off of what you see today with some of this stuff, you'll understand that, like, hey, Coach Prime understands what he was doing. It made total sense why Shedeur and Sean Lewis weren't on the same page if Lewis was not able to adjust this sort of stuff. So without further ado, let's get into it. Again, I won't be able to see your comments, but afterwards I'll spend some time, depending on how long this goes, to answer some questions and comments. Of course, if you want to ensure that you see anything, send me a super chat, but let's go ahead and get to it, right? Okay, Oregon game. We're already down 13-0. And I guess before I get started, I'll also say, fair use clause, fair use clause. I do not own this footage. This is purely for educational and commentary purposes, okay? Let's get with it. And I'm going to keep this on 0.75 speed. That's what I normally do, so we can kind of see what's going on. But the first play here, I think this is another example of where Shedeur is saying, hey, if we were just on the same page, if I knew the routes from the get-go, I would be able to throw with better anticipation. Okay, so what do we got right here? We have 11 personnel with Mikey Harrison out in this left slot. Shedeur going up to the line. I don't think he's changing the play. Maybe he's changing the play. I just figure he's calling out the protection. But maybe I'm wrong on that because he had Zay Weaver go out longer. But anyways, I think this is a good example here where, again, nice little concept here. And I think, like, you could see Shedeur throwing this to Weaver right here. Of course, you got this. I'm guessing this is a star position player, like a safety that's right here that could come up and break this play up. If it's thrown a little late. But I think he could have come out just throwing this thing immediately, reading what was going on here with this first corner, if it was man or whatever. But here you see this safety kind of drifts back. And you would like to see Shedeur get that thing out like right here, okay? But continues to hold on to it. There's more pressure in his face now. I think it's tipped at the line, incomplete. I think this is like a pretty clear example of if he trusts with the concept that's going on, he's able to deliver this, especially within that second window that I pointed out before the pass rushers got there. But this is just one of the plays that stuck out to me where I'm wondering, like, hey, Zay is open. Why isn't this being thrown quicker? Maybe this is one of those routes in which you didn't know coming off the snap exactly what kind of depth this was going to be run at. Again, defender does a good job of getting a hand on it. You would have liked to see him get rid of that a little bit quicker. So that's one of like the more ambiguous plays. I picked like 3 or 4 plays out of both the Oregon and UCLA game to take a look at. Curious what you guys think with this. Again, I am no coach, but some of these things just stuck out to me from like a route concept perspective that it just didn't like look right, all these plays. 5:40, 2nd and 9, ball in the 26. Already down 21-0. And this might have been like the most clear one to me that I'm wondering, I'm like, was it really designed this way? You know? So empty set here. Of course, Mikey Harrison over here. Jimmy Horn. I think this is Zay Weaver. Okay. You got a 2nd and 8 here, okay? And you can see it's looking like it's a little bit more of a zone. You got wide receivers running a deep route out here. I think man, I don't know who that is running that little curl route that's just absolutely covered by Kyrie Jackson, who, I mean, might be a 2nd-round pick this year. 6'3" corner, really good. But what really stuck out to me is that outside of, I think this is Jimmy Horn right here. Outside of this, it's like everybody's running deep. There's no utilization of bringing guys over the middle. The spacing of this play just looks awkward to me. I don't know about y'all, but this is where I wonder, like, hey, are these guys just running deep based off of what they're seeing? And it leaves the middle of the field kind of wide open. Shedeur like has to hold on to the ball. Now he could have hit this outlet here a little bit quicker. Again, like the timing to this whole thing just seems so off. You got Zay eventually coming open with this longer intermediate route. But to me, what made no sense about the game plan and what was being like called out there throughout this whole thing is that obviously CU is struggling with pressure. So often there were so many pass plays that weren't run with any hot read. You know, they're only rushing 4, I believe, and dropping back 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's not like they're facing a blitz, but with the struggle that we've had with our offensive line of being able to block guys for longer than like 2 seconds, the lack of hot reads that were given in these route concepts to Shedeur just made no sense. And I think it made his job a lot more difficult. And I think it leads to a sack like we're seeing here. And you can see here, I've talked about how we've really struggled with these stunt routes and not handing them off much at all. Or if we did, the handoff is just bad. And you can see there, like the pocket just kind of collapses. Sack. Again, you would have liked to see more of a layering of those routes where let me go through here. Again, where there's like, dude, there's so much space. You'd either like to see a break quicker, you know, right? This is stuff that I'm wondering is like, is this what Shedeur was talking about, where guys are running too deep? They're not breaking off early enough. Because if there's a break, you know, with like this corner a little bit quicker, I think he's able to throw that, man. I think he's able to fit that in there. But then he's going on to his next read already. See, and Harrison's covered. Okay. Then he's got to step up a little bit, right? And then it's all. But again, you're asking this offensive line to do a job that they just weren't capable of. And you should have known that by what, the 4th game of the year? Let's go to 6-11. 3rd and 18. And this is another one. Again, I understand it's 3rd and 18, but at some time you got to be realistic with what you're having issues with and what the defense is doing really well. It's already 21-0. Again, I understand it's 3rd and 18, but there is no hot read for Shedeur in this. Okay. Now, I'm wondering, okay, was he trying to hit? Is this Mikey Harrison coming over the middle? Yes. Like, he is open over here, but you see everybody is just running deep when you see that there's just a ton of green space open. And I mean, you're asking a lot from Shedeur to essentially hit a guy at the sticks on 3rd and 18. Again, guys, I don't know the plays, but I'm just wondering, is everybody just running deep based off of what they're seeing, okay? You know? This is kind of what I wonder if this is the case. And even this like drag over the middle that Harrison's running is still, 10 yards deep. It doesn't allow Shedeur to get the ball out early at all. And honestly, how realistic is it that you're going to be throwing a completed pass at the sticks on 3rd and 18? I don't know. But at the end of the day, like, this is the kind of stuff that looks like it's a mess to me, because if there is a little bit more of a diversity in the depth that these routes are being run, say you have a little bit more of a layering, Shedeur has the ball out already, man. And then you see he's rolling out, trying to make a play, almost throws an interception right there. Bad throw. Now you could chalk this up, I guess. Shedeur's wanting to extend the play, make that 3rd down conversion, whatever. But it's not like these routes did him any favor. It's not like he even had the option to look off of a shorter timed route. And again, did he know that Harrison was going to be running this drag? Because he could have hit him a little bit quicker. But then by the time I feel like he looks at Harrison, this safety has already covered him. So there's an example there. And then here's the last one that I had. We'll go to 26-38. Second and 5, ball on the 29, 42-0, 4th quarter. And I think that this is a pretty clear example here of Shedeur and the receiver not being on the same page, miscommunication. He thinks one route's being run, another one is being run by Xavier Weaver here. So rushing 4. And Shedeur has time to throw this thing deep right. He's loading up. And you see Zay, like, I know that there's contact there, and he kind of stops his route, I think expecting a penalty, which might have happened. I don't know. But then you see him just kind of, like, he totally quits on the route. And I don't know if he was expecting, like, this ball to be thrown differently. But from this angle, it looks like he was expecting this ball to be thrown in a little bit. But I think for the play that's called or whatever, or what I guess it was designed to do, he gets good protection here. Granted, these are the second teamers. But then you see it's almost like, I don't know, man. I wonder if Zay was trying to run out here and then he sees it's over his head and he just gives up. Or if he just gives up from the illegal contact. I guess you see a flag fly in there. But I thought that was a pure, clear case of some sort of miscommunication with what was going on, because you didn't see Zay continue to go downfield. You saw him kind of cut in a little bit. And so let's go ahead and get to, and I'll share this, guys, here really quick. You guys are wondering, like, why I was so critical of Sean Lewis and Bill O'Boyle, I think later on in the year, compared to some of the players when it came to some of the blocking. This is like clear stuff that, to me, I chalk it up to coaching, where play action fake from Shedeur here. Okay. You see, you get the linebacker blitzing in, and Savion Wilkerson, you should see what's going on. You already know right now you're not getting the ball. What does he do right here? He dodges, he ducks that linebacker right there. That is coaching. That is pure coaching. Whether that's fallen on Flea or the offensive coordinator, Sean Lewis. But this is like this is stuff where it's like, no, Savion wasn't beat because like he sucks, in my opinion, right? He's not being coached. That's how I see it. Is like at this point in the season, the guys that are being out there should understand their responsibilities and what they need to do. It's inexcusable to have this type of thing happen off of a play action. Savion needs to stick his nose in there. And I'm going to put that on coaching for that, for this stuff happening. What was this? Week 4? Inexcusable, man. Like doesn't have the ability to block. This is straight up like, oh, and should Harrison have been over there? Maybe. But I see this as like, you got to read and react to this, man. Like clearly Harrison didn't get over there in time, but I don't like that. And that's kind of the stuff of why, like, I was pretty critical of some of the coaching rather than just saying the players just sucked. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Yeah, that must have been an issue with StreamYard, but you guys can see this play developing now, right? 12-12. All right. Okay. Will I cut this out? I don't know. But anyways, 12-14. What do you see up top? You see Travis Hunter and Javon Antonio. You see Jimmy Horn there in the slot down at the bottom, and then Zay Weaver down by the 50-yard line. Okay, guys. Again, this is where it doesn't make any sense to me. So you're faking like an RPO, right? You see these guys are running routes right here, and it's looking like Travis might be his first read out here in the flat, and then he's going to Javon like on this little slant. I don't know why he doesn't throw this. Maybe he can't tell if this guy's in zone or not, and if this is going to be picked off. Okay. But then look at this. Okay. I'm just wondering what is going on here, because you see these guys running routes. You see these guys right here that are clearly blocking. They're setting up to block. They're not running any routes. And then you see, is this Dylan Edwards or Savion Wilkerson? Either way, the running back, okay. Like if he's supposed to be the third read, why do you see him straight up give up on this route? Like you see him straight up give up on this route. So you're wondering either like, I don't know, man. Is it option routes? I don't know. But at the end of the day, there's two different things going on here that I have no idea like how to make sense of this. So I wonder, like, do you want to chalk it up to option routes? Okay, maybe, but at the end of the day, the biggest thing that Shedeur was alluding to was that there was a miscommunication on what he was looking at and expecting to do, and then what was going on the field. And this is like one of those things where if these guys are blocking, shouldn't Dylan Edwards, I think this is Dylan Edwards, shouldn't he be out here in the flat? Or like, was this literally designed as just an RPO where if you don't hand it off and you're not throwing this slant route or whatever, you're just running with it? I don't know, man. I hate the design. I hate the design of this. And to me, it just didn't make any sense. So again, guys, like I don't know the plays. Obviously, I don't know the reads or what the progression should be. But when I'm looking at this stuff, it just doesn't it just doesn't feel right to me, man. And I mean, that's not even talking about what's going on here up front with the offensive line, man, where I mean, this was just a rough one from Kareem Harden, man. But yeah, to me, like that play just made absolutely no sense. Let's go to 619. Another example of just guys going deep. And we're like, when I'm watching this live, of course, you don't have like the full on coach's view, right? So I just think, all right, are we just sending everybody deep on every play? It makes no sense. Maybe this is part of the option route thing where guys just see a coverage and they're just running open, right? So you got empty personnel right here, 4-man rush. And again, this is tough because there's guys already in the backfield right when he starts his drop, you know? Um, but guys are both running deep off of this same coverage look. It's hard for me to feel like that's the design. Maybe it is. But again, there's nobody even coming across. There's no depth of concept here. Like for Shedeur to hit a receiver on his side, he's having to throw it way beyond the sticks. And again, you can chalk it up to the offensive line for blaming him on why he needs to roll out. But again, this isn't designed in any way to where it's giving him a hot read. And I know that's not ideal for him to have to use or need a hot read on a 4-man rush, but that's just the reality of, especially coming out of a bye, where that's just where we're at. Like, we know that our offensive line was having trouble blocking a 4-man rush, and we're doing Shedeur no favors here on. There's just no quick hitters, man. There's no quick hitters. And you see this route here. I mean, it just goes absolutely nowhere here with Edwards, man. Like, I just do not understand. You have guys running fully deep, and then you have guys just standing around, man. So with what Shedeur was referencing to, I don't know. Like, you would have liked to see Travis get out there, but again, I don't know. So again, guys, I'm just giving you my honest look at this thing. I'm not a X's and O's genius. I've never coached or played, so take this with a huge grain of salt. But to me, the design of this, it just looks off. And so I think back to these sorts of plays that I was looking at like a few weeks ago when Shedeur was bringing this sort of stuff up, where it's like, man, there is no layering of route. Let's go to 513. Okay, 2nd and 10, ball on the 13. All right, we got 11 personnel here with Travis Hunter, Javon Antonio, I think, Zay Weaver out here, Dylan Edwards in the backfield, Mikey Harrison lined up left of the offensive line. What was the note that I put for this? Okay, yeah. Let's hit this. Oh, I think it was the play after this. So, yeah, that wasn't the play that I wanted to look at. Because I think it was a 3rd down that I was looking for. Man, let me try 613. No, that's not it. I'm sorry. I must have. Maybe it was this play right here. UCLA. All right. Yeah, we're going to skip that one. I don't know which one I was referring to. Sorry, y'all. I'm going to give myself one more crack at it. Nah. We'll skip that one. Okay. It's 26-13. All right, 1st and 10, ball on the 25 here. Made a note to watch Zay right here. And this is one of those routes that, again, I'm wondering if Shedeur, if he knows straight up that this is the route that he's going to be throwing, if he's going to be able to throw this with a little bit more anticipation instead of just looking him off. You know, and he dumps it down to Travis because, again, you see this thing right here. If he knows straight up that this is what he's running this little out. I mean, we've seen plenty of times where Shedeur's been able to hit Zay on these outs. And I think he could have gotten rid of it there or before there. But anyways, takes a hit, has to dump it down. But I think like those are some other things too, where he's talking about, I wish I could have gotten rid of the ball earlier had I like straight up known what was going on, right? And maybe he was expecting him to, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. But to me, it doesn't make sense why at this point that ball isn't being thrown on that break. Right? So, man, I was really hoping I could find that other one because it was a 3rd down where everybody's just running deep. And I'm like, what the heck? Anyways, I'll go to and show a couple examples of like on schedule stuff that I thought we'll see more from Pat Shurmur of. That I get the idea that whether this was scheduled or not, Shedeur had a lot of confidence on what route was being run, and he was able to anticipate it. Again, this is one that's on schedule, right? You're playing off of space, set up this short little screen. I think this might be Hankerson out here, if I remember correctly. And then you get him in open space. Like if they're going to play off like this, then just take advantage of the space and move upfield. That's a gain of like close to 10 yards right there. You know, that sort of stuff. It gets the ball out of Shedeur's hand very quickly. Again, 2nd and 13. Okay. They're playing off. Hits that drop back, and the ball's already out of his hands, man. This guy, even though they're beating the tackles off the edge real easy, it's a non-factor. Oh, late hit. Okay. 3-13. Other just simple stuff that Pat Shurmur can bring in here a little bit more often that I think will, because like sometimes you see like when we choose to make the easy play, when we choose to play the numbers game, right? Putting the ball in our playmakers' hands as quick as possible with a numbers advantage up front, like we move the ball. And look at this. You bring Hankerson in motion, okay? This is thrown on timing. Based on the defensive look that you're getting, you know you got 3 guys blocking up here with only 2 guys up the line. You should be able to get a nice gain here. And, I mean, great open field tackle there by number 4 from UCLA. But nonetheless, it goes for a first down, guys. Like, this isn't – this is like stuff that I felt like we just went away from at various points in the game for whatever reason. Because, man, I should go and find it. There are times where, like, we bring a guy in motion like this, and we did it against Oregon too, where they're playing deep, and you have a 4-2 advantage right here. But the first read here is throwing a one-on-one against Kyrie Jackson, you know, who could be a day 2 NFL draft pick this year. And I think we ran that concept 2 or 3 different times, Zay Weaver against Kyrie Jackson, and it just went nowhere when we have somebody like Dylan Edwards that's sprinting out right here wide with the numbers advantage. And it's like, why are the progressions the way they are? I don't know. But here you see, you know, this play executed where the progressions make sense. Off to Hankerson, first down. 10-21. This is one last throw that I feel like, hey, when Shedeur knows what routes are going to be run, not having to depend on or guess what route's going to be run, I think this is an instance where you can see a completion happen. But take a look at Omari Miller here up top. And Shedeur knows he's got one-on-one coverage. I think he's expecting Omarion to run this comeback or curl at a slightly different like depth and timing. Because you see, it's just, he threw with good anticipation, not necessarily on the same page with Omarion. You know, maybe he wants him to turn that other direction or something like that. But in my opinion, like, it's like the right read. I mean, we saw him throw, for instance, like this same sort of concept to Omarion, and he's able to turn upfield against USC, right? A couple times. And this one just, and maybe it was just a bad pass, right? Maybe it was just thrown a little bit over his head. But I think this is an example of Shedeur talking about how he wants to throw with anticipation, where he wants to have the pressure put on him to make the reads. I think this is a good example. You know, it works out or it doesn't work out as a completion, but you can see the idea. Like, it was the right read and concept, and it should have gone for close to a first down, you know, if just the timing, maybe the way in which Omarion is curling back is run just a little bit differently. You see this play executed with a little bit more confidence. So I guess that's all I really wanted to show. This is a bonus clip here. Again, guys, why I am so critical, or why I was so critical of Bill O'Boyle. Bill, none of my guys know their assignments, O'Boyle, is that he's telling every guy, you know, they're not on the field because they don't know their assignments. Well, it's kind of an issue when nobody knows their assignments, right? Especially after a period where you're on a bye week, okay? Where you got 2 weeks to prepare to really make sure that everybody knows their assignments, right? And I mean, just look at this, man. You got 3 guys going to their right. Why? I don't know. You have a running back then identifying, or I don't know, still going to the right as well. And you just have an edge rusher from the snap come free. Takes a big hit on Shedeur, man. This is stuff, okay, you want to chalk it up to the players. Clearly they don't know what's going on, whatever. But I'm going to chalk this up to like, how is this so complicated, guys? I don't know, but I think this is Wilty and Isaiah Jada right here from the get go, man. From the get go, both of these guys just running to the right, and you get an NFL draft pick right here that just has a free run at the quarterback. This is the kind of stuff that I saw that people like Matt McChesney is calling out, saying, what is going on where these guys are not communicating, understanding what's going on? You see Van Wells is turned inside. Are you really expecting him to come in and block an edge rusher? I mean, you just again, guys, that's why it's like, man, with this offensive line making a jump from being one of the worst in college football to even being ranked, 60th in the country, I think is something that I'm hoping for, and I think would be a substantial improvement on this offense. To me, that sort of stuff is just inexcusable, and it really makes me wonder what the hell were you telling these guys in the meeting room? Or how the hell were you not getting these guys attention to understand what was going on the field? After a 2-week bye week period, or a 2-week period where you have a bye week preparing for an opponent, like, this type of stuff to me was like totally inexcusable. And it makes sense of like why after this game, was seeing some of the stuff that I was pointing out with some of the offensive play design and what was going on in the offensive line, why Coach Prime was like, yeah, you know what? After this game, Pat Shurmur, we need you to come down here, not only be the play caller, but also the offensive line coach. So anyways, that's kind of it. I'm sorry that I was getting like really passionate or whatever. But it's just something that when it happens on tape, it's like, why? And I gotta say, I love the fact that Shedeur took some time to be candid about this, to be honest about it, that a lot of the play design, man, just did not serve his strengths. And I think, again, if you can have Shedeur play on schedule, to have the pressure put on him to make the quick read immediately, get the ball out of his hands, then you're going to see not only a lot of improvement with just the offense in general being able to move the ball, but the offensive line and not having to block for as long. So I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts. Again, sorry about the technical difficulties. Big shout out to Russ from Buffs News Weekly. I think he had an episode tonight, so please go check him out. But I'll get to some of your comments, on this. Byron Wilson, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Highly appreciated. What a jackass offense to run with a pro quarterback. Goofy. Yeah, it's almost like you were taking the decision making out of Shedeur's hands in a sense. And I kind of understand, like, from what I understand at the NFL level, wide receivers are expected to make some of these reads. They have choice routes as well with certain play calls, but I mean, that's a lot to put on somebody in college, definitely. And I think, for instance, like Omarion Miller, why he didn't see the field a lot. They're saying he wasn't prepared, stuff like that. Well, I wonder, okay, are you really expecting a true freshman to come out there and read the defense correctly? To me, it just didn't seem like an effective use of our athletes and talent. Again, I don't feel like offense needs to be rocket science. With some of these sets that were run, we have the numbers, and you see what's going on with, hey, they're playing off. We have 3 guys stacked over there. Make a read that gets the ball out of Shedeur's hands quickly and, utilizes our athletes in space with a numbers advantage. And it's not like we did run that stuff sometimes, but way too often did we see a lot of these deep route heavy concepts being run way too late in the year when we knew for damn sure that this offensive line was not capable of giving Shedeur well above probably the average time to to drop back there for these long developing routes to to come open. It just made no sense. But Byron Wilson, again, thank you so much for this other $2 super chat. We were off. We were better off running the wings with Shedeur. Yes, and there's nothing wrong again with just taking what the defense was giving you. But again, like so often too, especially in that Oregon game, maybe I'll do, if you guys want me to do like a full on like quarter by quarter review of what was going on where I can take you through what the play design was, but sometimes we're throwing these bubble screens out wide, right? Okay. But they're always done with like a play action fake to Dylan Edwards when we're only running the ball 10% of the time. So then these safeties that are playing deep, they're already reading based on what these wide receivers are doing off of their breaks that it's a screenplay. And so they're already there to blow it up because Shedeur's taking that extra second, to play fake before he's getting in the throwing motion. It was like some of these things in terms of the mechanics of the play, it made no sense when you're not running the ball effectively, whether you're not capable of it or you're not choosing to run the ball more. Regardless, the amount of play action that we ran like that made no sense and it did nobody favors. Oh yeah, the wing tee. So yeah, we totally. Let's use some more motion. Let's get the ball like out of Shedeur's hands immediately. And K Vizzy, man, I don't know if you're laughing at, a comment or with whatever I was showing, but yeah, like a lot of this stuff, man, it's just, again, I am just a novice to all this. But some of that play design, man, it made no sense. And I think King, you're totally right about this. You need a good offensive line for choice routes. You need a good offensive line because, like Shedeur said, you need to take that extra half second or that extra split second to understand what's going on because you don't necessarily know where your receivers are going. You're not able to throw with nearly as much anticipation. And so you need to be protected for a longer amount of time because you need more time to make a decision. And it just shows a total lack of awareness in playing. In a sense, we're always playing to our offense's weakness. And again, for that to still be the plan after a 2-week hiatus, after a bye week, coming in against UCLA, where we did see the defense play so much better off of that bye week with that extra week to prepare, totally inexcusable. And it makes total sense why Coach Prime decided to make a change right then and there, man. Sad. It's really sad stuff because I felt like we just left so many chips on the table. All right, going through some more comments here. Yeah, Mikey did get smoked on some of these plays, man. And Lenny, I think you said it here best. It's definitely a combination of horrible play calling and players not executing. Yeah. And hopefully we're able to simplify things a little bit. Again, if Shedeur knows what everybody's going to be running, he's able to find the weak point of the defense based off of what he's reading pre-snap. And I think when you're giving our wide receivers a lot of option routes to run, you're taking away one of Shedeur's best assets, which is his ability to read a defense pre-snap. All right. K Busy coming in here. Dave, maybe we should question PFF Wells's ass. It doesn't tell the full story, and PFF does not measure the dog in somebody. That is for sure. And I think one of the positives about Yukiri Walker is that I think he does play with that aggression and that attitude that this offensive line needs. But Buffs News Weekly, Russ, man, you put this so correctly. Like the fact that you're seeing these same issues happen after the Oregon game, 3 weeks later against UCLA, it just shows a lack of being able to adjust from the coaching staff. Dave, what do you think happened between the first 3 games versus the rest of the games? I need to go back and look. I haven't watched the Nebraska and TCU film as much, but, and I'm curious, I'm going to scroll forward to the present comments to see what you guys think about this, but I really do think defenses did not expect our offensive line to be as bad as it turned out to be. And so you saw Nebraska and TCU do a lot of rush 3, drop back 8. And there wasn't nearly as much pressure on Shedeur. Our line could block 3 guys effectively, but you saw that change with CSU, and J-Dot's hitting on this, is that they started putting more pressure, blitzing, bringing 4 and 5 man rushes, and they were able to expose our offensive line, and we weren't calling anything like, again, when Shedeur has protection, we saw against TCU and Nebraska that when he has time, those choice routes, it makes sense because guys are running open when he has all day to throw back there, right? But when CSU decided to really put the pressure on the offense to get rid of the ball quickly, we did not adjust. Our offensive line had trouble with a 4-man rush the whole season. And you saw a lack of adjustment from offensive play calling, whether that was running the ball more or, again, having some just easy read, get the ball out of Shedeur's hand, play calls more often, right? We were still calling so many of these long developing plays throughout the season. But I really do think that was the difference, is that after TCU and Nebraska, CSU decided to approach it a different way, and nobody, or Sean Lewis in particular, was not able to adjust to that. I think that's very clear. For whatever reason you want to theorize of why he wasn't able to, those were the results, is that he didn't adjust. The play calling did not adjust. The schematics didn't adjust. And you saw Pat Shurmur, I think, do a pretty decent job with that. And I still do think we'll throw the ball a lot. And I don't see that as a negative thing because I want to put the ball in the hands of the best player on the team, which I'd say is Shedeur, you know? And if we can just give him, like he said, that ability to throw on schedule for him to make the decisions, that's what he wants. Have those guys, give them a static route to run most of the time, right? Shedeur says, let me make the read, right? To me, it made no sense for a quarterback that scouts say his ability to read a defense pre-snap, his ability, his cerebral ability to understand the game is one of his best strengths. I mean, looking at this man, it made no sense for why you would want to take some of that out of his hands. So I think we're going to see, I still think we'll see us pass the ball a lot, but I think it's going to operate a lot more smoothly based on the play calling. And of course, I think the improved offensive line. David, I'm gonna put 40 you and Rawhide Media when college football 25 comes back. Oh man, put 40 on me. I suck at video games, so I wouldn't put yourself past it, man. I'm probably going to be a very bad college football 25 player. But if you're putting 40 on me beating Rawhide, I think I can do that. Now, outsider, you're saying laughing out loud or something. Sean Lewis didn't adjust. Deion fans are hilarious. Well, now let's say this, okay? Should have coached Prime. Can you blame him for this not happening? Absolutely. Absolutely. At the end of the day, you can totally criticize. Why did you hire this guy if this is what was going to happen? Or did Coach Prime want this type of offense to be played and saying, you know what? The offensive line is going to get it together eventually. We're just going to do it. I don't know. That's all theory and speculation. I don't really know, but I think it's totally fair to criticize him for making this hire when it's clear what was put out was not catered to Shedeur's strengths. Yeah. Never was a good fit for his son. And again, I think that's why I've really warmed up to Pat Shurmur being hired, because there is a level of competency and understanding that he will have with the personnel and with what he's calling. But guys, I might go into this again really quick. Bonus round and see if I can find some other things here that you guys might find kind of interesting. Because I did mark down some other plays if I wanted to go a little bit longer. So why don't we do it? Okay, I'll show you something that I'm hoping we don't see this year. Okay, guys? Let's go to 29-20. And I hope you guys are enjoying this. And my hope is that you guys, whether you agree or disagree with me, that at least walking through some of this footage gives you guys a better understanding of what happened with some of these games. Right? Okay, so we got this going 29-20. We got a draw play up the middle, blocked really well. Granted, 4th down, so they got their backups in, I think, right? Or 4th quarter. Facing like a 5-man box. Look at this. This is daylight, right? Now, this is where I am confident, guys, you will see plays like this go for a lot longer than what they did in this situation. Again, Everybody else is blocking pretty good on this, okay? Dude, Bailey lets that linebacker just push himself off of Bailey, man. This is stuff where if you're a left guard going straight at a linebacker, this is where I expect you to blow his butt up, right? And I mean, McCaskill here, man, this is where I'm expecting him to churn out a real big run. Look at this. Look at his hands right here. What the linebacker does. Bam. Get out of here, man. This should have been like a 15-yard run, guys. Let's go to 315. So you think Justin Mayers is going to get thrown around like that? Heck no. So I think, again, I don't really think the run to pass ratio is going to change much. I think it will improve, but again, I don't think you're going to see this offense consistently run 60 to 40 or pass 60% of the time, run 40% of the time. But when we're running that 30, 35% of the time, it's going to be way more effective. Let's see here. Okay, so the note that I had on this was why this progression. Okay, so we got 4 down linemen, 3 out to the left, okay? And again, this is kind of played pretty well. Again, it's just understanding. I don't know why this is the progression because this is drawn up really well to where Dawson, man, this is an NFL throw, dude, that you should make to Dawson right here. And guys, I understand Zay Weaver's right over here. Okay. And maybe this is where, I mean, we saw a lot of throws like this where Shedeur tested Kyrie Jackson one-on-one. But to me, it's like, man, why are you throwing at Kyrie Jackson, who's a 6'3" corner that is probably going to be a day 2 pick? I'm sure he finished all Pac-12 this year. Probably first team, right? Why are you even doing this, man? Almost intercepted. But I mean, the rest of the play looked really nice. But then you can chalk it up to, hey, did Shedeur even know Dawson is coming open, right? You don't even know. I mean, this is just textbook coverage, man. So, anyways, guys, I got some more footage. That hopefully I can run through with you guys like throughout the season. Chairman A, appreciate it. $5 super chat. Compare these breakdowns with games Pat coached so we can see the difference. Yes. Let me see what other games I have available. And again, I just don't really know if you'll see much of a difference. So these are the games that I have available to myself right now. TCU, Nebraska, Colorado State, Oregon, USC, and UCLA. That's it. So right now, I have no coaches film on any of the games Pat called. Sucks. So hopefully I can get some more, and because I think that would be a really good exercise to see. Especially, I thought the Oregon State game, the Washington State game, that will be interesting to look at. because that was a crapshoot as well. But I thought he called a good game against Utah. Now, Rawhide and I go back and forth and saying, is that kind of more so the offense we're going to see Pat Shurmur call with Shedeur Sanders under center compared to Ryan Staub? I don't know. But again, I think there's only so much you can take through, there's only so much you can take from what the play calls were from Pat Shurmur last year, given the fact that the playbook was option route heavy. And I think that's probably why, with that news coming out, that makes me understand why there wasn't that drastic of a change with certain things, because guys are still reading things and going deep. It's kind of out of Pat Shurmur's hands unless he's changing the playbook, which he was not doing. But yeah, hopefully you guys found this fun and insightful. And in my opinion, man, there's nowhere to go from up. Again, with that running play, for instance, you think Jamal Mayers is going to get pushed off by a backup linebacker like that? No way. We should be able to run the ball a lot more effectively. I think we'll have one of the best offenses in the Big 12. I mean, that's my hope. And that's why I got us winning 9 games, baby. I'm on that 9-game win train. And Mike, you called it from the Nebraska standpoint. They brought no pressure, 4 starters out on defense, and still had 8. They still had 8 sacks. Oh, I need to go back and watch that, man, because I wonder if they were just mainly on those long developing plays, right? Then CSU saw that and they said, we're going to approach this differently, right? We're just going to bring more pressure. Wow. Pat Shurmur's offense will look different. Hope we will be better than Lewis. I mean, it should be. We got better offensive linemen, I think. We got better wide receivers, and I think we will use those wide receivers in a way in which they're going to be more successful. Keck, genius stuff. Amazing what happens when you run the ball. You saw that with Kenny Dillingham, man. It's amazing what happens when you run the ball. You do some pre-snap motion. You put pressure on the defense to make decisions, right? Yeah. No, but Nebraska's going to be a lot better this year, man. They are no slouches. That's for sure. Byron Wilson, thank you so much for the super chat. Prime should make it mandatory for all offensive linemen and interior defensive linemen to be 315 plus. Oh my God. Yes, please. 65 and 73 is Landon Beebe and Jack Bailey. They looked feeble. Yes. Now, I do think that you can get away with having, there's always exceptions to the rule, right? I think, for instance, Chijose Nwankwo, I think he's like 305 pounds, right? I think he's by far our most our talented interior D lineman. But I think as we win more and more games, we're going over the years, we're going to be able to recruit those freak athletes like Tavondre Sweat, right? And that would be nice to get a handful of those guys. Now, it is great that we've brought in Anquin Barnes. I'm guessing Tarian Carter's going to be closer up to that amount in weight as well. And on the offensive line, yeah. And it's kind of interesting because both Savion Washington and Jared Christian Lichtenhan, they both measured around 325, but definitely very tall, a little bit more lanky. And defenses, I mean, you saw this with UCLA. They definitely saw that while they were big, they really struggled moving laterally. And so you see those edges always rushing from like a really wide standpoint. And there was nothing we could do about it because even with those sets on the defensive line being stacked like wide, we weren't able to run the ball through the A gap because or through the middle, through the interior, because our interior offensive line was so weak, you know? Let me show you an instance of like where this was at. Let me pull back up the UCLA tape. Guys, this is such a great thing. And it's like, why are we just going away from this? Why like why did we go away from this, guys? All right. We got 1st and 15. This is the first play of the game, guys. Okay. Okay. And this is the type of set stance that you saw with UCLA throughout pretty much the majority of the game. And even in some cases, I felt like it was even wider. But look at this. Look at like what happens when I mean you're playing on schedule when you make an easy read, right? So these defensive backs over here are playing off, okay? Got Dylan Edwards, our fastest running back, coming out here in the flat. You got wide rushers. What do? Shedeur's looking off this whole thing, or maybe reading this situation here. I don't know if that's Jimmy or Travis. I think it's Jimmy. Not going to go there, but hey, my flat's open because this linebacker is responsible for covering Dylan. So I'm just going to throw this open. I mean, guys. And then that way, getting rid of the ball early, then you're not even worried about these edge rushers, man. You know? You just see how wide they're and it's like, man, the play calling just, I mean, Jada was like our 3rd string left tackle, man, and the play calling just it showed absolutely no awareness for the guys that they had on the field, man. Like you're not doing him any Savion Washington's playing on half an ankle. But yeah, we open up the game there. I mean, we should be killing them on those quick hot reads. Nah, it's not a good one. Yeah. Oh, I think this might have been it. Did I show this one already? I don't think I did. Guys, again, you could chalk this up to Bill Boyle, Sean Lewis, option routes. I don't know. I mean, just I mean, I understand it's 3rd down, but there was on 3rd down, if they're blitzing, I feel like most of the time, like really good play callers, they build in a hot read or they build in a read or a route that you can hit quickly, right? With timing. Okay. So this could be another instance of this option route stuff because everybody's running deep, man. And Shedeur's trying to throw this thing with anticipation. But there was just nothing quick that he could throw, man. mean, maybe you could hit Jimmy over the middle, right? But again, I understand him saying that he feels like he needs to hold on to the ball just a little bit longer to react to what's going on the field. But everything's being run long. Again, I understand it's third down, so maybe the concept here is to run at the sticks. But again, on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, whatever this is, are you really expecting our line at this point, game number 7, I think that we're playing, for them to be able to deal with a blitz like that on 3rd and 8? I don't know. So anyways, guys, that's it. That's it. I've gone long enough here. I'll get to this super chat by AI Dog, Al Dog, author. Is it AI or Al? Guess we'll find out. Remember when Brady told Shedeur he needed to get in the film room? Is he spending more time in the film room or at fashion events and shopping sprees? This is what I don't get, man. This is what I don't get. Hey, I appreciate the super chat, but guys, do you see how often? Hold on real quick. You see how often all these guys, like, they do, they have a life outside of football, guys. Like, even Tom Brady, like, they were doing things throughout their playing career, okay? The fact that in January he's doing a fashion show, or he traveled on break before team meetings are happening to go hang out with Jordan Seaton. I guarantee you, people and athletes, great athletes, have been doing this all throughout time. It's just it wasn't put on social media. I don't know what you expect, like, these guys to act like robots, but there's a time to put in the work, and then there's also time to enjoy other things in your life. I do not understand this stuff. I guarantee you Shedeur is in the film room. He even said on that interview with DNVR he has dinner with Pat Shurmur regularly. I guarantee you he's doing plenty of film study. I don't get that bullshit, man. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna shut this thing down. I appreciate you guys so much, and I'll be back tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow's the Super Bowl, so y'all enjoy your weekend. Again, you guys don't have to agree with me, but I'm hoping that this was insightful for you guys in some way. But appreciate you guys, and I will see you later. Go Buffs.